This is possibly the best pocket/action camera I've ever used, and it's so much fun. Let's ramble.
Hold up, place go wild when I pull up. They all on me like it wants.
Hey, what's up guys? It's great to see you all again, and if you're new here, I'm Patrick, and this is where I ramble about tech and other stuff. So as a YouTuber, you obviously spend a lot of time using cameras. I mean, you kind of have to, right? And I'll be honest with you, when I started this channel, I didn't know the first thing about cameras. My first videos look awful. They have this weird yellow hue, nothing's in focus. You get my point. So naturally, you get more interested in cameras in a problem-solving kind of way. And throughout my YouTube journey, I continued to find myself trying to solve two problems when it comes to cameras. One, how can I make shots look more interesting? And two, how can I make this process as simple and easy as possible? Usually, you can find a camera that solves one of those problems, but not the other. In other words, if a camera is very easy to use, it usually isn't very interesting. And when it's very interesting and it gives you unique shots, it's usually not very easy to use. Rarely do we find a camera that can do both, create super interesting shots and be super easy to use. Enter the Insta360 X3. This is the third iteration of the X series, and it shows because Insta360 has managed to really iron out any kinks and make this the most user-friendly and yet the most interesting camera I've ever used. It's essentially a 360 camera, but I think it's much more than that, so I like to refer to it as a pocket camera. So what is this weird looking thing anyway? Why does it have two lenses? Well, both of these lenses cover a 1/2-inch sensor, and their field of view is a little over 180 degrees. And the fact that it's a little more than 180 degrees per half, let's say, it creates an overlap, a bit of an excess field of view, if you will, on both sides. And the very clever software inside the camera, by means of a process called stitching, sort of glues those two halves together, using the excess field of view in the middle to erase the seam on the side, so that it looks like the camera is filming an almost perfect 360-degree sphere. Now, the fact that it can do that comes with a whole bunch of very useful advantages. One of them is that it can erase the selfie stick it comes with, so it will not show up in any of your footage. The selfie stick is perfectly straight and it sits right underneath the stitch line. The overlapping field of view erases the selfie stick right out of the shot, hence the name Invisible Selfie Stick. It almost looks like you have a drone constantly hovering around you, which is obviously not the case. Another massive advantage of filming with a 360-degree sphere is that it doesn't matter where you point the camera or how you hold it. It simply films everything it sees around it, and you can choose the angle later when you're editing your video. On top of that, the X3 has what Insta360 calls flow state stabilization with horizon lock, and what that does is it locks onto the horizon, and no matter how you twist or turn the camera, the horizon always stays perfectly level. Imagine how incredibly useful that can be when you're trying to get some of those difficult action shots where everything is moving. Well, everything except the horizon, because this camera will handle it for you. So again, it films everything around it, does it incredibly stable, so you can just focus on whatever it is you need to focus on and let the camera do its thing. And you can worry about picking the best shots later when you go to your edit. The fact that it shoots 360 video in a 5.7K resolution and uses two 1/2-inch sensors to do that means that the image looks super crisp. So even when you choose your angle and you crop in a little bit to get that perfect shot you want, you can export it in 4K ProRes, which will of course look pretty amazing. The other huge advantage, and what makes this camera so versatile, is that it offers single lens mode as well, which makes it act more like a typical action camera without the 360 element. Fine, so now you know how it works, but what can it do and what makes this so simple to use? Well, aside from the fact that you don't have to worry about your shot while filming, I also think that Insta360 really nailed the menu system. It's all touch-based and it's super intuitive. You can simply pick the mode you want, set your preferred frame rate, and let the camera worry about the rest. The last thing you want to be doing when you want to take that quick action shot is navigating complicated menus and settings. So this simple menu is a huge plus for me on the X3. The other thing that makes this camera so solid is how well it works with your iPhone. I mean, you can use it autonomously, of course, since it has this nice 2.3-inch touchscreen, but when you pair it with your phone, you basically have an external monitor so you can see exactly what the camera sees. So to give you an example how easy it is to use, let me show you something called Me Mode. You just go into single lens mode, choose me mode, and hold the camera on the selfie stick. Now the camera will automatically keep you centered in the frame no matter where you move the camera. As you can imagine, this makes vlogging super easy. Oh, and by the way, you can buy a ton of accessories for the Insta360 like a microphone adapter, which makes vlogging even better. Because now, not only does the camera keep you in frame at all times, you will also have nice and crispy audio. Another really cool mode, and one I find very useful, is first person mode. We've all been there. You're doing something, you want to film it, but then you realize you're running out of hands and you can't hold the camera. Now, all you have to do is literally hold the camera in your mouth and it will film whatever you're doing. And because you can track a certain object later in the editing suite, you can make sure you have everything you want show perfectly in frame. You can edit videos straight on your phone with the Insta360 app, but I much prefer the desktop editing software that comes with the Insta360 for free. A word of warning though, do not turn the image around or you will be faced with this. Probably my favorite trick is using this extremely long selfie stick, which looks more like an enormous fishing pole. It extends all the way out to 3 meters, which is about 9.10 feet. Now it literally looks like a drone is hovering around you. Pretty crazy. And of course, there's lots more little tricks you can do with this camera, like Tiny Planet, which makes it look like you're walking on a tiny globe. Those are great for social media. And there's so much more to this camera. I mean, it's IPX8 certified. You can take it underwater up to 30 feet, which is pretty impressive given the fact that this has a removable battery. The micro SD card actually goes underneath. As soon as everything is clicked back into place, and you can see whether it's closed if there's no red bit showing, the camera is fully waterproof again and you can take it into the water no problem. You can create time lapses of up to 8K resolution and it offers 72 megapixels in 360 photo mode. I absolutely love this camera. This is definitely my favorite Insta360 camera to date, followed very closely by their amazing 4K AI webcam. I did a separate video on that if you guys are interested. Let me know in the comments what you think about this camera. If you want to try it out for yourself, there's a link in the description. Check them out. They offer discounts from time to time, and I believe there's a New Year's discount going on at the time of filming. If you enjoyed the video, please give it one of these. It really does make a difference. Subscribe for more content. Thank you so much for watching and see you in the next one.